Shalom, everybody. This is our Psalm series. We're making our way through Psalm 51. We already got through the first half of it in the last lesson, and today we're going through the second half of it. If anyone didn't know, I'm going to be offering some courses soon, both my Level Aleph course for anyone who is still learning Hebrew, and my Level Bet course, which is actually going to be a student-led advanced reading course, which means the students get to make up the syllabus of the course. You can check that out on hungryforhebrew.com. We are in Psalm 51, verse 14. Who would like to get us started and read this verse on screen?
Oh,
All right,
can
Peggy,
I
go.
go?
Yeah, well, Peggy, I saw you put your hand up. Go ahead.
Tashiva li Shishon Yasheka Yaruach Bedeva Hishmekani Hish Tish
Tis, there we go. Tis.
Hishmekani
Tismacheni. Okay, so this here at the beginning, is not a tav, but I think you pronounced it as such. What's that first word?
Hashiva
What's the root?
Shuv
Shuv.
yeah,
Shuv. So why is there a hey? Why is there a chirik yod?
the Hirik Yod would be he feel.
Yeah, the hey and chirik yod are hefil, and then the last question would be why is there this paragogic kamatz hey on the end?
So it's not directional, is it?
Well, no, because it's a verb.
Verb,
Directional shows
yeah.
up on nouns.
Noun.
So what paragogic hey shows up on verbs? Well, actually, before we ask that question, let's start out with this. What is hashiv? What kind of a form, what kind of a verb is hashiv? You can tell because of the exclamation point.
Feel?
Well, it's hefil, yes, but the
Oh,
form
is
of
that
it. It's imperative that
not an
you have to
imperative,
know
is
this.
it?
Yeah, it is. So what we're doing is we're taking the verb tashiv, which would have originally been te hashiv, but then the taha collapses together. Anyway, the point is, in order to make an imperative, you lop off the initial tav, and what you're left with is the imperative form, the command form. Do this. So tashiv means you will cause to return shuv, and then take off the tav, it becomes hashiv. That is the command form. Do it. Cause to
Why is
return or
it a
restore.
kamatz, not a patah?
Here,
Yeah.
oh, well, that's easy because if this were a strong root, there would be a patach. So let's look at a verb like tashkem, where
I
we
was
don't have
researching something.
a missing root letter. It would be something more like this: tashkem. Having the weak vav. Wait, do you see the vav of the root? Shuv? No,
No,
it's
none.
weak. It went missing. So what happened is what should have been tash weave. Right? This is what it should have been. Tashweev. Remember, Vav was an original W sound.
Yeah.
Tashweev. That right there was the problem, and it simplified down into tashiv. So now you lose the sheen as the end of the first syllable. It becomes the beginning of the next syllable, which leaves this letter all by itself in an open syllable. What
But
what length vowels go in open
has to
syllables?
be a long vowel.
Has to be a long vowel in an open syllable. So it had to lengthen because it's no longer in a closed syllable. That's according to the Rouse rule. Anybody want
Yeah.
to refresh us? What's the so-called Rouse rule?
The long vowels like short syllables and short vowels like closed syllables.
Good. So the rule of unstressed syllables is what I made up to make it stand, what I said it stands for. Rule of unstressed syllables says that precisely what you just mentioned, that in unstressed syllables, long vowels like to be in open syllables, and short vowels like to be in closed syllables. Now, it's remarkable how well this maintains true in Hebrew. The majority of the time that the so-called Rouse rule is broken, it's for a really good reason. I don't want to get into all of those I don't want to call it fringe, but all of those special scenarios where Rouse rule isn't followed. But, like over 95% of the time, it seems like Rouse rule is always followed. Long vowels appear in open syllables. So, and we could say that was probably a standardization of the Masoretic scribes. Thank you, scribes, for doing that. It makes the vowel pointing a lot more predictable in Hebrew. Okay, so we've gotten past the first word. Hashiv, no, we haven't, because we still have that kamatse at the end. What's the paragogic kamatse at the end of an imperative? Usually indicates that whatever the command is done either towards me or for my benefit, or both. So hashiva would be like, would you please restore for my benefit, li, to me, sason, joy. Joy of, actually, it's not sason, it's sason, because this is in construct. The joy of, right? If it were standing by itself, it would be sason with a full long kamatz. But because it's in construct, long vowels go shorter. Sason yishecha. Ooh, we know this root. Yesha.
Yes, yeah, salvation.
Right, exactly. Same as Yeshua, or Yeshua, or Tishua, Yishecha, your salvation. The Ruach Nidiva. What gender is Ruach?
Feminine.
Feminine. Can you prove it? Just look at the adjective, right? If the adjective is feminine, then that means the noun is. Ruach Nidiva, a willing spirit. Tismacheni. What is the root of tismacheni?
Simcha.
What you're saying is simcha, but what you mean, I think, is samach. Sounds similar, right? What is simcha?
Joy.
Joy. And what is samach? It's actually it's the Semitic root from which the letter samech derives. It's to like lean or support or press on something, right? Samach. So here we have tismacheni. It has to do with leaning or putting, using something as a support. It says you'll sustain or support me. You, Tav, will support any, me. All right, questions on this before we move on? All right, verse 15. Who wants to read next? Nobody.
I'll go if nobody.
All right, Angela, thank you so much for volunteering.
Hi.
Go ahead. Good to hear from you. It's been a while.
Yeah, 1 week.
Looking forward to seeing you in class.
Yes, I will, and hopefully my phone will work better then as well, because it keep dropping off. And alam da fos sim
Foshim.
Foshim. It's a silent shiver, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Hey, I just totally want to show you guys how this can turn on the transliteration. Would you mind if I turned on the transliteration?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. All right, let me show you. Down here, transliteration, turn it on. We can make it whatever color we want, like that. Go back. Boom. Foshaim. Okay, so that's the transliteration for the Hebrew.
Yeah. Foshim. Okay. Drakeka. Vahatakim.
V'chataim. Yeah, sorry, that's not im, not aim. That's a different letter. V'chataim.
Vahatakim. And Eleka. Yashuv.
With an u at the end. Yashuvu. All right. So while I think it's really cool that I can turn transliteration on, I'm not a big fan of transliteration, and I highly discourage it in my classes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back off. Okay, alamda foshim drachecha v'chataim elecha yashuvu. All right, so we're looking at, obviously we're reading in Psalms, so we're expecting verses to come in parallel and poetic segments. And so where's like the halfway mark of this verse? If I
And
split it into two.
Derek, yeah, that's
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. So alamda fosheim drachecha v'chataim elecha yashuvu. Those are saying essentially the same thing, but in different ways. So we can find parallel parts here as well. So what are the parallel parts of these two halves? Like the word pairs.
Uh,
Foshim drachecha.
the one that's sinners and transgressions.
Bam, yeah. So I could either
Yeah.
put a line there, or I could put like, A and A prime. Oh, that's not an A. Let's try that again. A prime. Good. What else?
I'd say your ways and they'll return. Yeah.
Okay. How about to you? Like they're like towards you and your ways kind of sounds like directional or
Oh,
view.
yeah,
So I
directional.
wonder if
Okay.
those two go together.
Mhm.
And then does that mean the third option is going to be the last words? Alamda goes with
No, is it?
Yashuvu?
No,
Really?
no.
No, not really. Well, I mean, what we do have going for us here is that they're both verbs. So in that sense, they're parallel. Also, learning and returning to God, those are parallel ideas. What isn't the same here is the subject. I shall teach or I want to teach versus they will return. But then again, what if one is just the result of the other? I teach, they return. Yay! I still think they're parallel, even though they're not as tightly in parallel as maybe the other two were. Alamda. What kind of a word are we looking at here? Part of speech. Is it a verb, a noun, an adjective? What is this? Alamda.
Verb.
1CS.
All right. The aleph at the beginning says I am the subject. First person common singular, I. I'll go ahead and draw a line right there. Okay, so wait a second. What binyan is it? We have a reduced vowel, patach dagesh.
It's a PL cohortative, isn't it?
Very good. So PL tells us what binyan it is, and then because there's a kamatz hey on the end with that aleph, it turns what we might call a yiktol prefixing verb into like you said, a cohortative. Okay, fine. What's that fancy word mean? Cohortative?
I will.
Not just I will. See, yiktol is I will. So what is cohortative? What's the difference?
Volative.
I want to, I desire to. Exactly. It's volative. So the cohortative says I or we want to do it, let us do it. It's our desire to do it. So I will is kind of a flat translation for this. It's more like I want to do it. I want to teach transgressors your ways. Posheim from Pesha has to do with transgressing. Yeah, nothing fancy there. Drachecha. Why is there a yod in Drachecha? Why is that
Plural.
yod there? Yeah, exactly. It's the yod of the plural. So we're looking at your ways rather than singular your way. If this were not here, it could theoretically be, well, it'd be dalkecha, but whatever. The yod tells us it's plural, your ways. V'chataim, which goes back to posheim, from the root chet, sinners. Elecha, towards you, yashuvu. Okay, what kind of a verb is this?
3MP.
Okay, so 3MP, you're telling me the subject is they will because of the yod at the front and the u at the end, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, they will what?
Return. They'll return.
Shuv. They'll turn a,
Return.
they'll turn a 180. They were going the wrong direction. They turn around, they come back. So does that mean you're telling me it's a yiktol verb?
I think so.
I think, yeah. I was going to say.
but we just had a cohortative.
It's going to be a cooperative.
Let me
Not a cohortative.
right. Cohortative is first person, so it is going to be probably going to be a volative. What I'm trying to get at is the volative forms in the third person, like this one here, Yashuvu,
Yes,
oftentimes they appear the same as the regular Yiktol verbs. So oftentimes the only way you can spot them is from context. So what I'm getting at is that if alamda is volative, I want to, let me, please, then there's a good chance that yashuvu should be translated as a volative as well. So instead of they will return, how should it be translated?
I'd love to. Let me.
Let-
Let us.
Let
Let-
them, or that they may return. So that's what would give it sort of the jussive or the volative quality. And it's okay. You can say they will return. That's wonderful. I pray that they all return. But I'm just showing you that because this is volative, maybe that one is too. All right.
So
Question.
what would you call that then?
Well, it would be adjussive because it's third person.
Okay.
You have another question, don't you?
So parallelism.
Say
What
again.
kind of parallelism?
Say again, Anatoly.
What kind of parallelism? It's A, B, C. What do you
I
call
would
it?
I would say because there's a corresponding word pair for each of these three words, and they are all to some degree synonymous, that would tell me that this parallelism is synonymous parallelism. We're saying the same thing twice using different words.
I was just thinking that if it's an if-then thing, like may I la la la, then this will happen. There's no the to say that, but my feeling that is that it's not jussive. It just has a feel of may I do this, and then this will happen. It will
Good.
come.
Right. And we have the room to proffer both of those possibilities and think about how in rabbinic and Jewish studies, the goal is not to find that one perfect silver bullet truest sense of the verse. It's trying to figure out all the various ways that we can interpret this to squeeze out as much of the meaning as we can. So I'm cool with that. All right. Next up, verse. Oh, did I go the wrong way? I did. Okay, 16. Who wants to read the next one?
Yeah, I'd like to.
All right, Anatoly.
Отселение. Медамим, Элохим, Элохей, Тишуати, Тиранен, Лишоним, Tidaktecha.
Tzidkatecha. Good. All right, so where's the halfway point in this verse?
Tishuati.
Right, because of
Tishati.
the etnachta right there. That's the
Etnach.
halfway point. Hatzileni midamim. What's the root of hatzileni?
That's it. Let's see.
Did you hear Peggy? Did you hear Cheryl? Natsal. The noon has assimilated into the following root, into the following letter, which noon at the end of a syllable usually does, unless it's the end of the word, and even sometimes it does that. So the dagesh here indicates that we have a missing or assimilated letter. Your first suspicion should usually be a noon. Hatzileni, is it a he feel verb? Well, we got the ha and the chirik yod, just like last time. Yes, it is a he feel. So cause, rescuing, deliver, any, me, damim. What is the me on the front?
From.
Yeah, that's the word
And
mean.
No.
Mean.
Exactly. It's that word mean. And again, the noon has assimilated into the following letter as a dagesh. Min damim becomes mid damim from blood. It's actually plural, whatever that means. Remember that even in the story of Cain and Abel, the bloods cried out to God. It was in the plural. So maybe hearing it in the plural here echoes what happened with Cain and Abel. Delivery, the idea here being, like murder. Hatzileni midamim Elohim. Yeah, ostensibly this is crying out to you, O God, so it's vocative. Elohei Teshuati, the God of, how do I know this is in construct?
Construction, because it's right.
Tzereyot, yeah, God of Teshuati. Why is there a tav at the end of this word? Well, near the end of this word. Anyone? Why is there a tav? Hmm?
It's the he of the feminine.
Fair. I would say it's the original feminine tav that we expect to have gone missing and turned into a hey. Yeah, and so here it's in construct, so the original tav remains. Whereas if it didn't have that suffix, it would be
With the he at the end.
right. Exactly. So it would turn it should have been tishuat, but Hebrew turns these final tavs into silent letters, just like a buffet instead of buffet, right? Silent tav went, or excuse me, final tav went silent. So tishuat becomes tishua. And we put a hey at the end to mark that final vestigial vowel. But in the construct form, feminine tav remains tishuati. So it's my tishuat turns into tishua. Tiranen, think of, well, all I'm thinking of is the word rina. Rina is joy, or shouting for joy, singing for joy, like kol rina. Where is that? Probably somewhere in the Psalms. What is a kol?
Voice.
Oh, that's like voice, yeah.
Voice, exactly. Kol
Voice.
rina would be the voice of joy, or the voice of crying out for joy. Tiranen lishoni, my lashon.
Tongue.
Lashon, tongue. Tzidkatecha. Is that an adverb, or what is that? Tiranen lishoni tzidkatecha. My tongue. No, it's okay. I get it. It will shout. So what gender is lashon?
Lashon.
So feminine.
It appears in this context that the tav is indicating that it's 3fs, feminine, but here in the morphological code it uses the b for both, so it's one of those words that goes kind of both ways, like ruach is sometimes masculine but usually feminine. Well, lashon is sometimes feminine but usually masculine. Yay. But here it appears to be feminine. So my tongue, she will shout for joy. What will she shout? Tzidkatecha, your
righteousness.
And there's that feminine tav that remains because it's in construct. All right, next. Who wants to read this one? Go ahead, Eileen. Turn your mic on. There you go.
Adonai.
Adonai.
Shofesti.
Sfatai.
Sfatai.
Right. Sfatai.
Sfatai.
Tiftach.
Tiftach.
Ufpi.
Dai.
Yagid.
Yagid. Tehilatecha.
Very good. Tehilatecha. Does anybody know where this particular psalm or this verse is recited in the liturgical sense. This is what's sung, usually sung right before the Shema. Adonai sfatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilletecha. O Lord, my lips you shall open, and my mouth will declare your praise. And so it's recited before, usually in song of some kind. And Adonai sfatai tiftach. Oh gosh, that's not how it goes. How does it go? Adonai sfatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilletecha. Adonai sfatai, something like that. And right before the Shema. So it's like this prayer, open my lips so my mouth will declare your praise. And the Hebrew Foundations Bible has a note here. Apparently, this is one of the 135 times in the Bible that the scribes decided to change God's personal name into Adonai or Elohim for whatever reason. So I just wanted to put a note in there so you realize this is one of those places. And okay. Why is there a tav at the beginning of this verb?
Is it a yictol?
It is. So the fact that it has a yictol prefix letter, that tells us it's a yictol. Good. And why specifically tav instead of something else like aleph, yod, or nun? Because all of those are yictol letters, right? Aleph, yod, tav, and nun, the so-called eitan letters.
Is it first person singular?
No, that would be aleph. I will do something as aleph. What is tav?
It's
Oh,
2
then
ms.
that's second 2ms.
Right, we have options. It's either 2ms or it's
Or it's
3fs.
3FS.
But since Adonai is not 3fs, we can be sure that that's not the correct interpretation. We're speaking to you, O Lord, who will patach, open. Just like the vowel patach, right? The vowel right there, the line is called a patach. Why? Because you have to open up. Patach is the root that means to open. Tiftach, you will open. Ufi yagid, what's the root of yagid?
Nagid.
God.
Right, missing nun, gimel dalet. What is the root meaning of this nun gimel dalet?
I thought it was touch.
That would be naga.
To tell.
Not exactly. How about
Like, no.
what?
To be up against?
Okay, getting warmer. Remember in Genesis where it's talking about an ezer kenegdo?
Yeah, as
The same
against
root.
something.
Against, good. So it has to do with opposition. So like facing one another, whether it's as friends or as foes. The point is you have two people facing each other. So we get the idea of telling from this idea of two people facing each other in a friendly situation. But then again, you can also have like the preposition neged, which means to be against someone, and that could be in a fiendish opposition as well. So whatever that may look like, it has to do with opposing. Well, here in the he feel, you're causing two people to face each other. It means they're discussing something, talking, telling, declaring, and that's where it comes from.
So-
Yagid.
What's Nagid?
Who is a nagid? It's the one that you can put in front of others. Nagid. It's from the pattern ai, which is usually like an abul kind of word. So if neged has to do with opposing, then that means this is someone who is opposable, not like a thumb, but like you can put them in front of the people. They're worthy of it. So a nagid would be like a representative, a leader. What is a nagid? I want to say prince, but it's not. It's a nasi, one who is elevatable. Yeah, the nagid is the one that is able to be in front of the people and like speak to the people. It's a leader, a nagid. But here it's in the he feel yiktold, it will, or properly 3ms, he will. Why? Because P is masculine. My mouth will declare tehilatecha. What is the root of tehilatecha?
A lamed
Lamed, lamed.
Right. There's a
Yeah.
exactly. There's a strong dagesh in the lamed here, and indicating that it's geminate. So it's from halal, like hallelujah. All right. Questions before we move on? All right. Who wants to read next?
Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead, Hannah.
כי לא תחפוץ זבח ואתנה עולה לא תרצה.
Lo tiltse. This one right here is in pausal form. How do you read it?
ואתנה
With a tzere?
אתנה.
Very good. Ve'etena. So it's because of the pausal right here that it turns from ve'etena into ve'etena. Kilo tachpots. What is chafetz?
Desire.
To desire, to find something desirable. So you did not or will not desire zevach ve'etnena. Ve'etena. See, now I screwed it up. Ve'etena. What does this mean? Ve'etena?
and I'll give.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's okay, fair. I should have worded the question differently. What form of a word is this?
Vayikto.
It's not a vayiktal. That needs a vai in front.
Cohortus.
Good, because of
Cohort.
the aleph and the kamatz hey, it also appears to be a cohortative, saying that I would desire to do that. Look, God doesn't desire a sacrifice. I would desire to give it. So the idea here is he doesn't want it, even though I would be happy to give a sacrifice. Ola lo tirtse. What is an ola, like properly?
Offering.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
of
why
course.
is
What's up?
Sacrifice.
okay, there you go. So that's what I was kind of getting at. It's from the root Ain Lamed missing Yod, having to do with ascending. Why is it called an ascending offering? Does anybody have a Bible translation that calls it an ascending offering? I've got a literal translation by J.P. Green. I think he calls it like a literally an ascending offering. You're like, get back here. I'm not done offering you yet. No, what does that even mean? Ascending offering. Well, the whole thing goes up in smoke. So sometimes translations will call it a whole burnt offering, or completely burned up offering. But the purpose of an olah appears to be not necessarily for, how can I put this? It doesn't usually seem to be something specific like a guilt offering or a thanks offering or a sin offering. It seems to be just kind of like, hey, God, I'm here. Kind of knock at the heaven's door, as it were. You send up an olah, and then you're prepared to sacrifice whatever specific offering it is that the Israelite wanted to offer. So olah lo tirtse, an ascending offering, you will not. And then resh tzadi missing yod has to do with desiring as well. So that's going to be in parallel with tachpots. And then olah would be in parallel with
Zeva.
Sacrifice.
zevach. And then it seems like the low and the low. Well, no, because that's like lo tachpots, lo tirtzach. Those are parallel. Okay, cool.
Now, can I ask a question?
What is
When
it?
you have the Ensnach, like under the Atina, is that always a pausal form when you have that?
Yes. I mean, well, let me put it this way. If the
Mm,
word
usually.
has a pausal form, then it will show up on etnach, and it will also show up at the end of the word on siluk sof pasuk. So those are this one and this one with those cantillation marks. Those are definitely the two upon which a pausal form will appear if one exists. Not every word has a special pausal form. Sometimes the so-called pausal form is actually just the same word. But yes, if there is a pausal form, that's where it will show up on etnach and siluk. Occasionally, it will also appear on a word that takes the zakef katon.
Mm-hmm.
More rarely with a rivia, like a little diamond. Do we have one on here? Oh yeah, this one right here. Now, granted, what we're looking at here in poetry is actually a different cantillation marking system than the rest of the Bible uses. The so-called three books, the books of Emet, Aleph, Mem, Tav represents Yov, Job, Mishlei, Proverbs, and Tehillim, Psalms. Those three books have a cantillation system different than the other Hebrew 21 books of the Bible. So what you learn in Genesis, Joshua, and Ruth is a different cantillation marking system than what shows up in these three books, the books of poetry, the so-called books of Emet. I'm still reading through a book that differentiates the two, but I'm not exactly an expert on the topic, so I'll yield to someone who knows more than I. And all right, any other questions before we move on? All right, 19. This is a
Already.
famous verse. Go ahead, Annie.
Tzivchei Elohim Urach Nishbara Lev Nishbar Venidke Elohim Lo Tivzeh.
Very good. This is a wildly famous verse. Where's the halfway point? Let's break it into parts.
Ruach.
Oh, Nidke.
Okay, Venidke, that's the etnach right there. Good. All right, would you break it up anywhere else? I mean, just as far as, I guess, from context, if we don't necessarily know the cantillation marking system 100%, where do you think would be a good place to split it further? Any other takers?
Is it where
Ruach.
Ruach is? No, that's it.
I really want to put one here. Why? I really want to put one here. So I'm looking at Ruach Nishbara. The fact that this has a cantillation mark right there makes me want to say that it's no, you know what? Let me back up. I just stated my ignorance when it comes to the cantillation marking system in these Emet books. So let me word it a different way. If this were in its usual form, this should be Nishbara. And that's supposed to be a hey, not a kuf. Use your imagination. Nishbara. But instead, how is it showing up? Nishbara. So I happen to know that it's a pausal form because of that lengthened vowel there. That's why I want to put one. Zivchei Elohim ruach nishbara. And this also seems to modify the noun ruach, a spirit that is nishbara. What is shavar?
Shatter.
That's it.
To break. Well, it's not to shatter. That would be PL or pu'al. Here it's in the nifal. So it's just like, oops, it's broken.
It's broken.
And as opposed to breaking it, shattering it, something like that. More of an intensive verb when it's in the PL and pu'al. And so a spirit that it's in the nifal. So it's like a spirit that is or has been broken, rather than a breaking spirit, a spirit that goes around breaking things. That would be a different word, right? Shoveret. No. It's in the nifal. Nishbara. Lev nishbar v'nidke. Okay, so here we can see the same root, nishbar or shavar, to break. What is the root of nidke?
Daka?
Okay, dalet, kaf, missing yod. In modern Hebrew, we know this word from like depression is dikayon. Dikayon has a strong strong digester. Dikayon is depression. It's like being pressed downward or crushed. So need K, what binyan is need K with that noon at the front?
Nifal.
Same as exactly. Nifal, 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 all of them are Nifal here, all three of these. And can we say that heart and spirit are in parallel?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, especially since they're both receiving kind of the same adjective, ruach nishbara, lev nishbar. And how are we to understand these two words? What is lev in the ancient Near East?
Mind.
Mind? I thought it's your seat of emotion, love and hate and all that. No. No, give me a good reason to believe that this should be translated more as mind rather than heart.
I don't know. That's
Well, think of
way
all the
it is.
places. Think of all the places where the word lev is used. Think of how the psalmist thinks to himself or thinks in his heart. Well, think in your heart. Where does thinking happen? In the mind. Or how the wicked men in Genesis, the imagination of their hearts was wickedness constantly. That's like the seat of imagination, right? Not your emotions. So it seems like all the places you're looking for this word lev, it seems to be talking about oh gosh, what's that fancy word I was looking for? Basically thinking and contemplating and imagining, talking to yourself, like contemplatively, things like that. So it seems like a slam dunk that this should be understood as mind. So what's a broken mind?
Repentant.
I think we can get that. Exactly. So if it's not functioning the way it was, that would be a good definition for broken, right? But if it was a mind that was thinking wicked thoughts and now it's nishbar, well, then maybe that's a good thing. Now we can heal and have that mind doing what it should be. What are we supposed to do with the word ruach then? It's one of those squishy words, spirit. What is a broken spirit?
Kind of the same, isn't
So,
it?
Well, that's what we do in English.
like
What do we-
nefesh
what do-
or a soul, broken soul, something.
Did you say Matthew 4? Anatoly, say it again.
I don't know. It's a nefesh, related to.
That's another word. Nefesh has more to do with your entire being. So that would be like your entire conscious animated self, not necessarily an immortal element within you. That was actually an idea proposed by Plato and made popular during the Hellenistic period. The Hebrew Bible doesn't talk much about it, actually. But anyway, so nefesh, when we see nefesh in the Bible, it's talking about the entirety of your physical self, which includes how you live and speak and think and animate and all of those possibilities.
Related more spiritual or repentance, I guess. Yeah, Matthew chapter 3, verse 8. So to return, something that seems to be repentance or related.
Mhm. So what are we supposed to do with ruach?
Spirit.
Spirit, breath. Could be wind.
Uh-huh. All right, so wind and breath and this word spirit, which actually just means wind and breath. So what are we supposed to do with that? What, a broken wind? Sorry,
Right.
such a dad. The spirit is what drives you to do what you do. Okay, it's the force that you don't get to see, which causes things to happen that you do get to see. Kind of like the wind blowing the leaves. You don't see the wind, but you see the leaves moving, right? The wind, the spirit is moving. You don't get to see the spirit itself, you get to see its effects. So if you have a spirit, that's kind of a driving force. So then what is a ruach kodesh?
And righteousness.
Holy Spirit.
Well,
Holy
that's the
Spirit.
thing. It is a driving force of holiness. It's what drives you to do holy things. So then why is it a good thing here? Why are we calling it a sacrifice of God to say a broken spirit? Because if the driving force that's in your engine is driving you to do things you shouldn't, then it's a good thing for your engine to be broken
Mm.
so that you can repent and heal and go back and shuv and all that other stuff. So, God, I was wrong. Break my spirit, break my heart so I can heal and do what's, right in your eyes, sort of a thing. And so Zivchei Elohim, the sacrifices of God, are a broken spirit, whatever that is, broken heart, whatever that is, and that is also crushed. Elohim lo tivzeh. Why is there a tav here?
You second.
Yeah, Yiktol to ms, you, referring to you, O God, will not. What is the root? Bet zayin.
Yod.
Missing
Yod.
yod, right? Missing yod. Remember, the yod at the end of the root usually goes missing and shows up instead as a vowel hey. And all right, questions on this before we move on?
Yes, this Makaf, or what's this Lev?
Lev?
Can you say this? No, this Makaf.
Oh,
Kind of cancellation.
sorry, right here.
That's right.
This is a makef or makaf.
Makaf. Okay.
Makef or makaf. You're asking what is it or why is it?
Oh no, it's just a distance
Oh,
between Lev.
yes, correct. That is called a makaf or makef, depending on whom you ask. All right. Next up, who wants to read?
Can you
Oh,
remind me
sorry,
what
Dina. Oh,
I
hang
have
on
a
just a
remind me
second.
what the purpose of the makaf is?
All right, Dina, just a moment. Angela, what is your question? The purpose
Can
of
you
a
remind?
makef?
Can you remind? Because I've forgotten.
Here's
Can you remind me
sure, not
the
a problem.
purpose of the makaf?
Okay, so the purpose of the makaf is essentially it's a syntactic mark. It's not a semantic mark. Okay, so it's syntactic. It's not semantic. Now I have to remember how to spell that. How do you spell semantic? Okay, semantic means definition of words. Syntactic means how you fit those words together. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there is a semantic definition meaning for the makaf or makef. It's not like every time you see a makef, it's blah. No, it doesn't work like that. It is completely syntactic. What it does is it's part of the cantillation marking system. Using it turns two words essentially into one.
Okay.
That's it. So that's why the word et here has no cantillation mark, because it's as if it were one word. This cantillation mark applies to the whole thing. And in fact, you can see words that are like 3, 4, 5 words that are all strung together with makif marks, and all of them have just one cantillation mark. Dina, you had a question. Go ahead.
I had a question about Ruach. So you said like it's the force that, can you say that again? Like that part?
Well, sure. I'll say it and then I'll give you the reason for why I claim that to be true. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm kind of flying in the face of, I don't know, Christendom, I guess. Just so you know, I grew up Christian. That's my background.
Okay.
So ruach literally in the most concrete sense means either breath or spirit.
Mhm.
Excuse me, breath or wind, which then later on seems to come to mean something like spirit. Pause. Okay, so I'll tell you what I said and then I'll tell you why. Okay, what I said is that the ruach is essentially the invisible force that drives something to happen that is visible.
Okay.
So I really like the idea of the wind blowing the leaves. You can't see the wind, but you can see the leaves moving, sort of a parallel. Okay, why do I say that? Because I went through the Bible and I did a word study on ruach, and I tried to find every place in the Bible that talked about the spirit of blank. Whatever it is. I found things like spirit of jealousy, spirit of lying, spirit of Elijah, spirit of, I don't know, it was like 7 or 8 different things that show up in the entire Hebrew Bible, spirit of something. And what they all had in common was exactly what I just said. If I say spirit of Elijah, what does that mean?
Um,
The
I don't know,
prophetic
like
spirit.
Seems like something is causing or driving someone or something to act in a way
Look
that
like
Elijah would have
Elijah.
done it, right? So
Mm.
if let's say that John the Baptist was moving with in the spirit of Elijah,
Mhm.
what would that mean? Well, it means he's doing things that Elijah
It's
would have
just,
done, or things that are parallel to Elijah's life. There's something that we don't see driving him to do something we do see and say, ah, that looks like Elijah.
Okay.
Uh,
So if you go back to Bereshit, okay, like
Mhm.
the first, I don't know if it's the first time you see Ruach, is it in Bereshit, right?
Ruach Neshama,
Ruach, wait,
the
no,
breath of life, right? Ruach
no,
Neshama is what.
I was talking about Ruach
Oh,
Elohim.
Ruach Merachefet. Excuse me. That's the
Elohim
first place you see
Merachefet
it.
Abizar, that's what I was talking
All right,
about.
Merach. Oops. I think it's Chefet. Okay, so when it
Merachefet,
says
yeah.
the spirit is hovering over the waters, right?
Yes.
Ruach
So
Merachefet.
how would you how would you translate this here? Like, would you say just like spirit or like something
I'm
in
sorry, I'm
like a
so
will of
boring.
God, whatever
I'm
that
so
is?
boring. Wait a sec. Ruach. Wait, you're right. It's Ruach Elohim Merachefet. Okay,
Ruach Elohim.
right. Okay,
It's
so I hate to say
Ruach
this.
like
Right.
eagle.
So, okay. So we could, oh, this is beautiful. Remember how earlier I said that when it comes to Jewish interpretation, you try to see how many different possibilities there are rather than trying to hone into just that one silver bullet. Okay. So Christianity obviously loves Ruach Elohim Merachefet because it's the first time we get to see the Spirit of God, which we
Right.
can then take and apply to all those other places throughout the Bible where the Spirit of God shows up, whether that's the prophets or the Book of Acts. And in the most boring sense, Elohim appears to be used occasionally in the Bible to mean something mighty in grandeur or status. Think of how Nineveh is described as Ir Gedolah Lelohim,
Mhm.
a large city unto God. What? It's certainly not a godly city. They're doing horrible, despicable things. They need repentance. Why would it be called Ir Gedolah, a large city, Lelohim, unto God or to God? And so experts that claim to be smarter than any of us say that this is actually used as an adjective like unto mightiness, like it's a extremely large, huge. All I'm getting at is that Elohim can be used in an adjectival sense, and I'm wondering if Ruach Elohim has more to do with like crazy strong winds. I know it's a super boring interpretation, but it is a
No, I
possibility.
know it's not. I really want to know what, like, because it's like the first time you see
Right.
like it's the first time to talk about anything.
Right.
It's
There's
like there's
this.
a better sheet, and I want to know like
Right. So there's this theory, in case anyone isn't familiar with it, the what is it called? The theory of first appearance, where
yeah.
your definition of a word throughout the Bible should come from the first appearance in the Bible. The problem, I would say, with Ruach Elohim Merachefet, the Spirit of God hovering or floating or something like that, is that it's in a context that is extremely I don't want to say
Still.
esoteric, but difficult to interpret.
Mhm.
That basically
Merachefet is
nothing
gentle.
exists. Say again?
Merachefet, it's kind of gentle. It's not violent. It's like eagle, but it's kind of carrying, like hen and chicken or something. It's carrying. It's not violent. Merachefet. So
Right.
So I'm
Merachefet.
just
Well, yeah, merachefet is a beautiful word that has to do with either hovering or gently fluttering or something like that. And so then the question becomes, so what is Ruach Elohim? Well, Spirit of God, Wind of God. It seems to be rather physical in Genesis
yeah.
because we're talking about water, we're talking about actions interacting with the water, we're talking about creation. So to insert like something that is I don't want to say paranormal, but something that is from a higher realm. The words right on the tip of my tongue. Celestial, and inserting that into a rather concrete creation narrative. I don't know. It's
So it could be something that doesn't have to do with God himself. That's my question. Like it could be not a part of God. It could be just like something that was created?
Well, yeah, but that would disappoint a lot of religions later on down the line. Not only Christianity, but Judaism jumps on this and says, see, this is the creation of the Holy Spirit, which existed before creation itself. It lists like 7 things that pre-existed the creation, and one of them is, the Holy Spirit. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't have anything to do with those. I'm saying we have possibilities.
Okay.
I think what confuses some people when you say the word wind, we confuse that with the word weather. You think wind, you think weather. And it's not weather at all. It's about movement.
Movement. Thank you. Yeah,
God is moving.
right.
So when the apostles wrote about Jesus giving up his spirit,
Well, he would
that
send. Yeah, right. Okay. All
yeah,
right. Sorry, I
that
interrupted you.
spirit actually went somewhere. It exists. He gave it up from his body. It's that unseen things that gives a life force to things when we speak of, in the spirit, because this life force gone, buried
See,
his body.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If the Spirit of God or the Spirit of Yeshua, if we want to try to define that, I'd say it's going to be, sure, it's going to be something that is difficult for us to put in a jar or paint red, because it's not tangible, but we can certainly see the effects of it. So that's
Of
kind
it,
of my
right.
whole point. Ruach is a force that we can't directly see, but we can see the reactions or the effects of it. And all right, fascinating. Who's
This
up
is
to
a
read
long
next?
discussion.
Yeah.
This can become a very long
Oh, of
discussion.
course.
When we
Of
Yeah.
talk
course.
about the heart, the mind, the spirit, it's like, wow, it could go on
We have
forever, right?
we have an hour and a half, or actually usually turns into 2-hour lesson dedicated to these kinds of words in our level Aleph
Yeah,
study
that's what you mentioned.
course. All right, who wants to read verse 20? Dina, you have your hand up still. Do you want to read?
Jared,
I haven't read Hebrew in a while, but we'll see. We'll try.
It sounds like Anatoly has something to ask before you read. What is it,
yeah, I
Anatoly?
was just asking about, you mentioned about 7th creation before. What angels, angel spirit, what kind of creation before?
No,
heaven
okay,
and
so
earth?
well, again, this is completely midrashic. It comes from a rabbinic midrash. It's supposed to teach us a lesson. It's not supposed to teach us history necessarily, but Jewish midrash, rabbinic midrash tells us that 7 things pre-existed the creation. Things like the Torah, wisdom, Holy Spirit, the name of Messiah, stuff like that. I can't rattle them all off.
Okay,
I don't remember them.
thank you.
But if you do an internet search for it, I'm sure you can find the topic. It's pretty easy to find. All right, Dina, you're on mute. Go ahead and give it a try. And
Oh wow, I can't see.
you can't
wait,
see.
okay. No, I can zoom. I can zoom from my side. Don't worry.
Okay.
היטיבה ברצונך את ציון, תבנה חומות ירושלים.
Good. This is also a very well-known verse, and it shows up again in the liturgical service of a synagogue. But Hetiva birtzoncha et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. What is the root of Hetiva? Anyone?
Tov.
Yatov.
Close. It's not properly Tov. What is it?
Yatov.
So there's a good chance. In fact, again, this is just my theory. There's an interesting connection between this Yatav, which is obviously the root of Hetiv, and the word that we know as Tov. It could be completely wrong, but just bear with me. What if the root Yativ, or excuse me, Yatav, were actually a state of being, O voweled, O vowel state of being verb? It would show up as something like Yitov, describing something as being good, and then the yod on the front often falls off in words like Yihad becomes what? Echad, exactly. Or what about I guess Teshev would become what? Because there's a yod right there. It would just become shit. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, let me do that differently. The imperative would properly be Yeshev, which then turns into
Shape.
Shev, exactly. So missing yod. There are plenty of places to substantiate yod with a shva going missing. So my wonder is whether what should have been yitov actually becomes tov and then becomes a root all of its own somehow, which would then make this root and a direct descendant of yitov, and therefore it, you know what, this is a highly speculative theory. I should probably just move on. But anyway, what I'm trying to do here is defend that maybe the root tov is a direct descendant of yitov, but it doesn't really matter.
I always just thought so. It just seems.
Well, I mean, we see the tet, we see the bet. So the question becomes, how do we get yod here and vav there? Why would it do that? We could say that maybe there was some kind of metathesis, but then that would turn into tiv instead of tov. So now you have not only metathesis, but also yod turning into vav somehow. Usually vav turns into yod, not the other way around. So it becomes really hard to explain. And so I'm wondering if a stative O vowel could be the viable explanation. But I digress. Hetiva has a paragogic hey on the end, which means
Justice. Yeah.
This is an imperative. This is a second person imperative.
Volative.
So it is a volative, but the hey I mentioned earlier is either directed towards me or for my benefit.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
it's
So
directional then.
hetiva, do good, like that, because that would be beneficial to me. Birtzoncha, in your ratzon, from the root resh tzadi yod or vav,
Yod.
either one. Yeah, well, we don't know if it was
Hey.
originally vav. Resh tzadi vav, vavs turn into yods. And etzion. Ooh, do I want to talk about that? No, not well. I do a little. It's okay. No, okay. Tivne is from the root bet nun.
Yod.
Missing yod. Chomot. This is having to do something with defender. I read an interesting connection between chomot, a wall, and the chami.
Yeah.
Chami
Father-in-law.
is going to be the father-in-law, acting like a protector. And maybe. And Yerushalayim. Ooh, this is a good study. What does the word Yerushalayim mean?
Jerusalem.
Stop.
You'll see peace.
Okay. Did you say you will see peace?
Yes.
Okay. You will see. What's the word for you will see?
But there's an aleph in the Ra'a, so I don't know.
Very good. So
Here, Jerusalem.
Yir'eh means you will. It means he will see. You will see would be tir'eh. Yeah, something like that. So what most scholars do is they put the root yara in
To
the.
teach?
What is yeri? Or
Isn't
yore?
shooting or an arrow or
Yes.
something?
Yes. It's so here it would be the idea of casting a stone in the sense of a construction term. When you cast the cornerstone, that's the first stone from which all the other stones will be based. And so the theory is that Yaru has to do with they cast, they like cast the cornerstone, founding stone, something like that, keystone. Shalem is the original, and then later
Complete.
it turns into shalayim. So what is shalem?
The wholeness, completeness, complete.
Okay,
Peace,
whole
peace.
or complete, which then also means peace.
And pay, shalem.
Lishalem
To
in
pay
the PO
somebody.
means to pay, to make restitution, not restitution. What's the word I'm looking
Recompense
for?
or
Recompense. Yeah, making. I'm thinking of like an accounting
restitution.
term. No, like an accounting term. Like I have a balance and I can The balance.
yeah.
I
And
can
balance.
The pole, or you're
You have to
restituting it.
reconcile the
reconcile. Yeah,
balance.
maybe reconcile the
Yeah.
balance, something like that.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I hate to mention this, but I have to. Jerusalem was originally a Jebusite city.
Yeah.
And they were not interested in
Peace.
and completeness and wholeness, as it were. Who then was Shalem? It was their God. It was their God.
Yes.
So the idea is that Jerusalem originally, as a Jebusite city, was a city that they cast for their God Shalem.
Wow.
Hey, it's horrible. That's
Knows that.
disgusting. I don't like that at all. That's okay.
So they know that
God-
Shalem was their god, the god that the Jebusites worshipped?
Oh, sure. Yeah. The fact that
Wow.
Shalem as a god did exist is not the kicker here. What's awesome though is that David takes the city and becomes a city, a city of peace. Okay, so the root of Yerushalayim is not etymologically related to a city of peace. We think of like Ir Shalom. And a lot of people say that Jerusalem has to do with city of peace, Ir Shalom, Yerushalayim. Sorry, there's no Ain, there's no Vav, but it's kind of like a midrash, really. But I think it's just fascinating how God can take something that is broken by humans and use it for his own purposes. I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot to be said there, but I used to be of the camp.
Well, it's like,
What?
isn't it similar to where Joseph said that God is taking what was meant for evil or bad for him to make it good? So it's kind of the similar.
When I hear you, and that verse right there kind of reminds me of the New Testament verse. God, all things work out for good to those who love the Lord. It reminds me more of that. But to be able to take something that is broken and God is still able to use it for his purposes, I don't know, it feels a little bit different than, God, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and say yes. Sure. God's
I'm just
amazing.
not quite sure what you're saying, Jared. Are you saying that Yerushalayim means like casting him away, casting that God away
I
from
think
that
it would
place?
be,
Or
no, I think it would be, I like what you did there. That's pretty dang cool.
that's what
I
I
love
want it to
it.
be.
I love it. So imagine David and his posse coming in, casting the god Shalem out in order to, oh, wow, that's beautiful. No, the theory is that Yeru is a construction term for casting the city or the founding stone, and therefore representatively the city, for Shalem.
Cast sort of gives the
To that
idea
God.
to throw away. You're talking about setting the stones.
Setting the stone. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's probably more like a King James word, Elizabethan English word, to cast the stone in the location where it ought to be in order to build the rest of the house. Yes, setting the foundation stone is what I'm getting
Okay.
at.
I've never heard that before, Jared. Very good.
So the other words over here, like yore and yeri, have to do with shooting an arrow, like making something go flying through the air. So apparently these are related words, but it's related to another word that you all probably know.
Okay.
Torah.
Rough.
What? How is this related to Torah?
Because you're teaching to shoot.
Arrow. Yeah. Shoot direction.
So the tav at the
Construction.
front, the tav at the front and the hey at the end essentially tell us that we're looking at a feminine abstract noun. And the root, that's our original vav turned into a yod, and the kamatse is telling us that we had an original yod here. So the yod resh yod is the same root as yeri, shooting. So causing shooting, the act of causing to shoot. What are you talking about? Well, if somebody causes someone else to fire an arrow, whose fault is it for where that arrow goes? The one who shot it or the one who taught him to shoot? To a degree, both, really. Both the teacher and the one who actually did it. The word Torah is training someone to shoot straight.
Mm.
And then once they shoot
Mm.
straight, the ramifications of that arrow cannot be taken back. You know, there's a proverb about it in the book of Proverbs. You know, an arrow released can't be retrieved. You know, it's like you can't unhear that or unsay that. Well, yeah, that's exactly it. You know, words are like arrows. Once you release them, they're gone. And
That's interesting.
So
Sin
the-
means to miss the mark.
it's another shooting term.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So apparently Torah is training someone to shoot straight, and sin is when you miss the mark. Pretty cool, huh?
I love it. That's awesome, Jared.
So maybe
Um,
they shot Shalom, then that god that was there.
All right.
But it's
we got-
interesting that the common thought is people think it's a city of peace. You
Look,
know, I
I'm
heard that.
happy. I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. I'm happy. It is or it's supposed to be a city of peace, and I'm okay with that midrash. In fact, because of I don't know if I want to call it Second Temple period or maybe a little afterward, where the gutturals become so feeble that they don't have any pronunciation anymore. All of a sudden, Il Shalom sounds just like Yerushalayim. It sounds almost the same. The ayin loses its value, and then boom, it becomes natural to create a midrashic parallel between the two. I love it, but etymologically, it's strained. But it doesn't mean that there isn't some truth there.
It was interesting.
When the Prince of Peace comes to Jerusalem, it will be the city of peace, right?
Yep.
Amen.
Here we are in Psalm 21. Who wants to read next?
No, we're in 51.
Excuse me, Psalm 51, verse 21. All right, I'll read.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead, Angela.
Okay, sorry. Let me just make it a bit bigger. All right. Az ta paz.
Sorry, I was trying to make it bigger on my end, but I think the font is maxed out. My apologies. Go ahead.
Tapaz and Ziv A Zedek. Ooh, now I need to get it smaller. Okay, sorry. And Ola Vekolil.
The Khalil. Are you reading on your phone?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. What if you hold it sideways? Does it get bigger?
And I would have to do something to make it go.
Okay.
Like,
My apologies.
yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Now it makes
maybe next
makes more
week.
sense. Okay. The Khalil.
Yeah. Vekolil and Oz. And Va'alu. Ya'alu. Al. Mizbah.
Mizbachacha.
Mizbachaka. And Parim.
Parim. Very good. Az tachpotz zivchei tzedek ola v'chalil. Az ya'alu al mizbachacha farim. All right, so there we have that chefetz root again, having to do with desiring. You will desire or delight in. Az is one of those adverbial words at that time. Then zivchei tzedek, sacrifices of righteousness. Ola v'chalil. There's the whole rising, ascending burnt offering. V'chalil from the root kalal, which means all of it. This is the same root in words like kol, like all or each. So chalil having to do with everything, whole burnt offering. Az ya'alu. What binyan is ya'alu?
Yiktul?
It is a yiktol, but that's not the binyan. Yiktol is the form.
He feel with the patah.
He feel. She says it's he feel because of the patach.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's kal.
Okay, so the question isn't whether there's a patach, because I'm afraid with that ayin right there, both the kal and the he feel will look alike.
Oh, so it's a call.
They will ascend is ya'alu. They will make something ascend is ya'alu. So how can we tell which binyan this is? It's not in the verb ya'alu. It's going to have to be in the object. Is there an object? Yep.
Yeah, it's
So
a call
therefore,
then.
no, kal
It's a ifil.
it's going to be hefil because
Yeah.
hefil is a transitive verb. You can do something to something else if it's a hefil. Sometimes you can in a kal also, but hefil is pretty much always a transitive verb. So because we have an object over here, we can be certain that it's a hefil. They will make go up the young bulls.
So if it
Otherwise,
was a
otherwise, if it's a kal binyan, then that means this over here has to be the subject. The young bulls are the ones doing the action of ascending upon your altar, which not terrible.
pretty
I mean, it
pretty
still
hard when
kind
you're
of makes sense. I mean, they will go up,
but not they're dead, aren't they? They won't go
well,
anywhere.
not until they're on. Well, you're right, because they have to be. Yeah, that's yeah. They don't walk up
So
to the. Mhm.
so if it was kal, would it be a patach or no?
If it were kal or hefil, they are spelled the exact
They're
same
still
way.
because of
Exact same.
harmonization.
Because
there?
of the vowel
Okay.
harmonization of the ayin, they would be spelled the exact same. Yes. Now this particular one they
you.
put. Let's see. Now let me see. This one I'm sure they put as a hefil. What do they have? That's no, this one. Yeah, Ailu. There we go. Because of that hey right there, they're calling it hefil. Yeah. But the
Oh,
question becomes, what would it be in the kal? The exact same thing.
He
We could
feels
actually click on
okay.
that and then scroll down
Can you
to all
describe what that means again?
describe what means? Describe what?
Your formula that's he feel verb.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Just what all the letters mean again. I'm
yes.
sorry. I
Okay,
missed
so
the beginning of the class. Maybe you did.
no, I didn't. Okay, so you see there's a little gray box that pops up in teeny tiny font.
Mhm,
It's bigger
mhm.
it's bigger on the app, but basically this is what the hand is pointing to is called a morphological code, which tells you all of the morphological qualities of the word, I guess. So hey has to do with, I'm sorry, H has to do with Hebrew, V has to do with
verb.
Verb.
H, the next H has to do with, you can see
He
it in the gray
feel.
box right there, he feel. Next comes the I for imperative, and then 3ms for third masculine singular. So this is a he feel verb imperative 3ms, ya'ale. Now if I could find a ya'ale.
Glad you said that because I would have thought the HI meant he feel.
I was going to say
each one.
intransitive or something.
So now what I want to do is try to find that same word, ya'ale, as, here we go. There we go. Ya'ale. Kal binyan, imperfect, 3ms. It's exactly the same.
Wow.
But again, this
Oh.
one it says only shows up one time in the Bible. Well, okay, maybe. In each of these, you can open it up and find out where it has the particular verse. Click on that, and it jumps straight to that verse, and you can see it right there. Ya'lu, or
I cannot wait till this comes out.
I know. I could see
Me
it
too. I'm
lost
just
in this
itching.
app for hours.
So I just want to show you guys a little bit more of what I've been working on. So there's there's going to be a map section, which is going to be able to chart out all of the place names and if maybe people, maybe some events. The idea here, and I'm not done with this, I'm nowhere near done with it, but the idea was to build this into both a timeline and maps interface. So you would be able to click on certain cities or events, and it would tell you not only where it's located on the map, but also when it occurs along this, timeline across the top. Or you could do it the opposite and say, what does the ancient Near Eastern world look like, when I'm in the year, I don't know, 200 BC, or 75 BC or whatever that is, it should narrow down what the ancient Near Eastern world looked like at the time. Or if you need to, you can also search for things like, where is Rome? Oops, I'm in Hebrew. Where is Rome located? You click on that, boom, there's Rome. Yay, I just found Rome.
To
And-
enrich,
Huh?
enrich, enhance. I mean, if you add archaeology, this would be the top of the line. Just
Oh, it's
effort
already
to
top
make
of the
that.
line. There's nothing like it, but yeah, there's lots of room to grow. What I've been working on most immediately is the game section. You can press a heart on any of these and it jumps up to your favorite games here. But I have 22 different games so far that work on reading, vocabulary, morphology, comprehension. And then some of these I call context games, which really I need to come up with a better word. They're just kind of like, just to have fun. We've got a game called Zikaron. If you want to memorize scripture, that's exactly what it's for. And you can memorize it in
cool.
Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, or English. And
Why don't you just call it fun then?
fun, yeah, because I don't know. This one is not fun. This one I'm still working on. Chave is an interesting game where I don't want to showcase that one yet. Okay.
So it will
Synonyms?
improve.
Synonyms?
It will improve even memory.
Pick a fun.
This application.
What one can I show you guys? Okay. I will show. Ooh, this one's fun. Bua bua. What does bua mean in Hebrew? Bubbles.
Bubbles.
Bubbles. And oh gosh, that's really small font. But the idea is that you have bubbles coming up and you're supposed to find the ones that match to each other. So echad and one, you pop them. And if you select the wrong one, then they get bigger and that makes it harder. And once the whole thing fills up, the game is over. And that's
Oy.
a fun
And
one.
slow down the bubbles?
Well,
you have a
actually,
senior setting and a junior setting.
well,
Yeah, really.
actually, there is. So here in the bottom, you have a play mode, which is going to be more challenging, or study mode, which is basically like a Zen mode, if you will. So it's harder to fail or impossible to fail when you're in the study mode. So in that bubbles game, eventually it's going to stop until you click all of them, and then the next round begins instead of overflowing and freaking you out. This is the study scopes, the settings. So you can study Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic. You can study certain parts of speech or how common words show up, or certain parts of the Bible. You can even put in a custom part. Like today I had to do a teaching on Daniel 7 through 12. So I clicked on that and started studying the words in Daniel 7 through 12. You can study either the dictionary forms or the actual biblical context forms. And then the difficulty, you can either choose it or just leave it on adaptive. This was amazing. I put it on adaptive and started going through one of the games called Otsal, which means treasure or vocabulary. And it got hard fast because because I'm getting them right one after the other. I mean, after all, this is my job. This is what I do, right? Wow. It aims for 70 to 85% accuracy. So when I keep getting 100% accuracy, it started showing me words that show up only one time in the Bible. And I'm just like, it was a really challenging game. So anyway, this is the study focus or the study scope. Otsal, is a very run of the mill, I guess, game where you basically have a word that shows up in a certain place in the Bible and you have to guess what it means. Or yeah,
That
exactly.
brings me to
In
a
the
question
wilderness.
right
In
now.
the
Now, here's the
wilderness.
cool thing. If you want to,
Bar.
if you don't know that word very well, you click on this verse here and it'll take you over so you can read the verse in context. And then click on, where's the word Bamidbar, which means it opens up here and you can see the stuff. You can go there, read more about it, find all the different forms in the Bible. And then when you're done, you just click back, which I don't know how to do that on a computer. On the phone, you swipe back and it goes right back to your game and picks up in the game right where you left off. But yeah, unless somebody knows how to help me swipe backwards on a computer, I don't know how to do that. And let's get back over to the game section.
Going to be a big learning curve for some of us.
Yeah, this features will improve memory for therapeutic effect for Alzheimer's. For
this is more my wife's speed. Oh, I see. I'm going to have to do something different here. And she said that the bubbles game was too much, but
that would get my son would be better at it.
My eyes were going bonkers.
So this right here is a klafim, which means cards. You basically look for words that match. Ooh, I got one. And one, kachol. Shalosha, there's three. Lavan is, nope. Oh, what was that one? This one? Yeah, one, echad. White goes with Lavan. Red goes with, nope, it goes here. Kachol is blue. Adom is red. Yay, I won. It's basically matching cards, right? And theoretically, you're able to choose whatever study scope you want. And
I like that.
yeah, I mean, I tried to come up with a handful of fun games. And
I love memory games.
we got this one is
That's
one,
good
one that
for
I was
our
actually
old
just
brains.
this was one that I started working on today, so I don't know if it's going to be buggy still, but this is going to focus on the morphology of a word. If we see a word like hey sabu, oops, that 8 right there is supposed to be Judges 5:10. And so there in Judges 5:10, there's this word hesabu. Anyone want to help me parse it out? Does it look like a verb, a preposition, or a conjunction?
Yes.
Verb.
Yeah, it's a verb. So the H tells us that it's Hebrew. Verb. Yay, it's a verb. What binyan?
PL with the
PL.
dash.
With the hey on the front, though?
Yeah.
Oh,
With the
He
hey on the
feel.
front, I would have thought it would be he feel. Oh, it's a he feel. All right. So now what tense or form is it? Well, hopefully you guys know that second future and second pluperfect is Greek stuff. So the only correct answer
Perfect.
is perfect. Yeah. Which
Mhm.
which we would
It's
call
kat-
katal, exactly.
Tal.
And they call
Mhm.
perfect. It's
plural.
okay. All right. Yeah, because of the oo at the end, we know that
Second
it's
person.
it's second person, second person. What? It should be hey.
Third
Oh,
person. Third
it's a
person.
katal. Of course, it's third person.
Third person.
Probably common plural, right? Common plural. Yay, we got it. Woohoo. And then it goes on to the next one. Anyway, it's hard to come up with really fun language games, but oh, here's one. Besedel. What's the word besedel?
Mhm.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
No, besedel would be like in order, but it's used in Hebrew to mean like, all right, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's everything's in order. Everything's so it
Does
literally
the
means in,
Passover dinner has something to do with Beseder?
Seder is the Passover Seder. It's the order of the Passover ceremony. So it uses the same root exactly. But here the word beseder means in order. So check this out. You see what to do? Why is it here? Uh-oh. Oh, I need to dang it.
Canonical order in the Hebrew Bible.
In the Hebrew Bible. So what book is Shir HaShirim?
That's the Song of Solomon.
Song of Songs. So what you're supposed to do is drag it into the right order, and then once you're done, you check on check order, and if it's not right, it'll show the first one that's incorrect. So in the Hebrew Bible, which one comes first?
So Job would go before Ruth.
Well,
Oh, I don't
Tehillim
know
goes
the
before
Hebrew. I
all
don't
of
know the
them.
Hebrew order.
So Tehillim
I'll
goes
have to learn
first,
that.
and then let's see, Job I think would come after that, and oh wait, Mishlei goes between the two.
Oh, this is volume 4 we're looking at.
Yeah, volume 4. So these are all the writings. Okay, Ruth, Shir Shirim, and Malachi. Which one is Malachi? That's a prophet.
Yeah.
In the Hebrew Bible,
Malachi.
prophets come
Malachi.
before the writings. Okay, so all we really need to know is which one comes first, Shir Shirim or Ruth. I think it goes like this. Yes, I got it. Woohoo! But it's in the Hebrew order of the Bible. Yeah. If anybody likes a good Sudoku, got Hebrew Sudoku.
Gematria Sudoku. Okay, that's too much for me.
Is it?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
So the numbers, yeah, the numbers part, instead of it being numbers, I just put the Hebrew letters. This doesn't actually help you learn. I don't know. Maybe it helps you get familiarity with the letters, maybe a little bit of gematria, but just having a game that you can just chill and relax. Oh, I have a tashbetz. What is tashbetz?
I don't know.
Crossword?
Oh,
Crosswords.
crosswords.
puzzle.
I like this.
Crosswords.
I know,
Yeah.
right? So basically, when you come
More my
across
speed.
a game that you like, just put a heart on it and it brings it to the top. So if you like Tush Bets, put it right there. And now it shows up on the top, my favorites. And you can, like I said, you can always change the study scope so that you can study exactly what you want to. Suppose you just want to focus on, nouns or verbs or something like that. And anyway, today's my wife's birthday.
Oh,
well,
happy
you
birthday,
tell her-
Hope.
So I am going
Tell
to
her,
birthday from
tell
us.
her a big
Happy
thank
birthday.
you for all the suppers that she's had to warm up for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Through the
Yeah.
month.
So I'm going to go over to the party and wish her a happy birthday. Thank you guys so much
Yeah.
for studying Hebrew. I look forward to seeing you all next week. We will get into chapter 32, Psalm 32 next week. Until
Okay.
then, lehitrot v'shalom.
Lehitarot.
Lehitrot
Thank you.
leshalom.
Shalom.
Bye.
See you all.
תודה רבה, שלום.
Thank you.
Bye.